So the living room is probably the area that most people spend the most time in. It's where you come back home from a long day of work and just chill. And for most of us, it also doubles as the home theater and gaming room as well. So today I'm going to be giving you guys a little tour of my living room home theater setup and letting you guys know how I set it up in case you want to do something like this for yourself. So first things first, I know most of you guys are here for the tech, like the TV, speakers, and smart lights, and don't worry, we're gonna get there. But something that us guys and tech enthusiasts can really forget about sometimes is that furniture selection and layout design makes a huge difference in how a space feels regardless of what kind of tech setup you have. And I know this isn't an interior design channel, and I know my setup is not the most beautiful in the world, so I won't get too into it, but just please try and put some thought into it. And I don't want to see any of you guys with $3,000 TVs and a lawn chair. That's all I'm asking. Anyways, with that disclaimer out of the way, let's start talking about the tech. As far as my TV goes, I'm rocking a 77-inch LG C3 OLED TV. I think they're on the C5 now, so I guess I'm 2 generations behind at this point, but honestly, I haven't felt the need to upgrade. The reasons that I got this one specifically though are, one, the image quality on here is fantastic. Once you go OLED, you just can't really go back. And two, this is gonna sound pretty weird, but it's really lightweight. And the reason that matters to me is because I have this mounted over my fireplace. This may be a bit of a hot take, but I would just get rid of the fireplace entirely if I could, but it's there and it's occupying the best place to mount the TV, and mounting the TV over the fireplace would cause neck pains from having to look up all the time. So luckily, I was able to find this motorized TV mount that can swing down and lower the TV for a better viewing height. Only problem is though that the weight limit is right around 80 pounds, and most TVs in that size category of like 70 to 80 inches are already way past that, except for the C3 at the time. So here we are. And it really does look fantastic as well, so I don't feel like I'm making a sacrifice in order to have a lighter weight TV. And while 77 inches is pretty big for a home theater, it still doesn't match up to the level of immersion that you would get from a proper movie theater. And what helps get this set up a step closer are all of these smart lights that I have around the room that sync up with whatever is playing on the screen. It's kind of hard to convey over YouTube what it's really like experiencing this in person, because it just seems like there's so much going on and it would be hard to focus on what's going on the screen. But when you're focusing on the screen, everything else in the room is sort of relegated to your peripheral vision. And when all the lights are color matched to the scene, it feels a lot more like you're actually enveloped in and surrounded by the scene. So if you're thinking about doing this for your setup and you're wondering how it's set up, it's probably easier than you think. Let me show you. Okay, so I've drawn a little diagram here to hopefully make it a little bit more clear and less confusing on how the whole system works. And basically this whole system revolves around this sync box in the middle here. And basically what you do is you take your sources that I have here on the left. So it's like the PS5, the Switch, and the Apple TV. And those are the things that are gonna be giving you your video signal. And you take an HDMI cable, you connect it to the sync box, and the sync box that I have from Philips is, it has four ports. So you can have up to 4 devices. I'm only using 3 right now. But then you take one more cable and then send it to your TV. And basically what happens is the sync box intercepts the HDMI signal from your source, does some processing, and then sends a wired signal to your TV that'll have the full signal from it, and then sends a wireless signal over to your lights that will sync it up. And once you have all this hardware set up, you just go into the app, tell it where you placed all of your lights in relation to the TV, and the app takes care of the rest. And that's pretty much all there is to it. This does only work with Philips Hue smart lights, and I think Govee makes one as well, but either way, you're gonna need to make sure you stay in the same system whichever way you go. The kit will come with a light strip for the back of the TV, which is kind of the backbone of the whole system, but I think if you really want the full effect, effect, it helps to have light spread out throughout the room. Now, you may be wondering if this causes any issues like delays or degradation of the image, and all I can say to that is that I have not noticed any. So if there is, it's very minimal, and all the benefits that you get from having it far outweigh any potential issues that it may have. The visual is only half the experience though, and for me, I've gone with a Sonos audio system with an ARC, Sub-Gen 3, and 2 Era 300s. And in my opinion, this setup is one of the best values for home audio. And I know that this is not a budget setup by any means, it still is pretty expensive, and you definitely can spend more to get better sound, but I think this sits right at the sweet spot where you would be giving up quite a bit by spending less, and you would need to spend a lot more to get any noticeable gains. And on top of sounding great, they have a really clean look, they connect wirelessly to each other to keep clutter to a minimum, and if you don't have it in your budget for the whole system right now, you can just start with the soundbar and work your way up. Also, the Era 300s are great speakers on their own, so if you decide you want to use them in another room, you can always do that as well. So with the fantastic sound quality combined with the usability and flexibility of the system, these are pretty much a no-brainer for me. And if you haven't experienced true surround sound before, you really ought to go to a showroom or something to experience it for yourself, because I'm not exaggerating when I say audio is more than half of the experience. For movies, it adds an extra level of immersion, but for gaming, it's literally game-changing. It gives you so much positional information on where enemies might be and pumps in a lot of environmental noise all around you that gives it an extra level of immersion that you can't get with the screen alone. Now, having all this audio gear and lighting gear is great, but it does make cable management a bit of a hassle. And between all the stuff that I have, the PS5, the Switch, and Apple TV, there's quite a bit going on here, and I don't have a traditional media center to organize it all because the TV is on the wall above a fireplace. So basically I just stuff everything into this cabinet, and since I have all my inputs going into the sync box, I only need to have one HDMI cable going to the TV. And I run that through this external cable channel, and I will admit it does look a little bit rough if you look closely, but when you look at the scene as a whole, I'd say it's hardly noticeable, especially since I have it behind those shelves. I could hire some contractors to hide it behind the wall, but for me it just doesn't really seem worth it, and it's good enough for me. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I tried my best to mix functionality with comfort and style, and the media experience that you get in here is truly something that I look forward to every time that I use it. And if it gave you any ideas for your setup at home, or if you have any ideas for me, then definitely leave those in the comment section below. But that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.